21 blogging tips that can really make a difference for your website. So let's get into this. Hi and welcome back to my channel again. Today's video I'm going to talk about the 21 blogging tips for 2021 that can actually really make a difference to your website. Not only can it get you more traffic, it can also get you more sales. So I'm going to try and do this as quick as we can. There's lots to get through. Let's get stuck into this. So tip number one, it's all about the data. That's right, a lot of the information you actually need to succeed is available to you. It's free of charge and you have access to it. Not only do you have Google Analytics, which is full of information, not only website related, but also individual page related, but you also have your Amazon report. So all the sales that you've done on Amazon can actually give you an idea of what's working well for your website. Often you're selling products you're not actually aware of. So checking your Google Analytics along with your Amazon Analytics can actually give you some really helpful insights. And tip number two, pick a niche you like. Might sound simple, but it actually is that simple. Writing content on a daily basis or weekly basis can get a bit laborious if you're not actually interested in the topic or niche that you're writing about. I've done it, I've fallen into the trap of thinking I'll produce a website all about something that I'm not really interested in because I think it'll make money. But actually in the long run it's quite detrimental because you soon get tired and bored of writing content on that topic because you're not interested in it, and you will find that you will suffer from burnout. Basically after 5 or 6 months of writing content that you're not interested in, you'll give up. So write topics or pick a niche that you're actually interested in, or at least have a little bit of knowledge about. That way it saves you doing too much research on each post. And tip number three, my old English teacher is going to hate this, but break up the paragraphs. Although it may be correct grammatically and it may be the right way to format and set up those paragraphs, for reading them on a mobile device or even a tablet, often it makes for quite dull and boring reading. So you actually need to break up those paragraphs, number one, to make it easier to read, but number two, as a way of increasing your ad revenue. Because the more breaks there are in the context, the more ads you can fit into them spots and earn extra ad revenue. So break up those paragraphs. And tip number four, don't do it alone. Building a website can be quite a lonely place. Not all of your family members and friends will understand what you're doing. They'll think you're doing something really strange in your back room and each night and each day. But actually there are people out there that understand what you're going through. Other bloggers, other website owners, other content creators, they are out there and you need to connect with them, because not only will they give you often some helpful advice, they'll just give you that motivation to keep going. Particularly in the beginning, the first 6 months when it's really hard, you're getting zero traffic to your website. All you're doing is either spending money on content or you're writing content and you're getting nothing in return. These people, just like myself, know what that's like, and they will give you that motivation to keep going, pushing through those hard times until you come out the other end. And then when the money starts rolling in, you no longer need any inspiration. That will be inspiration enough. Tip number five, quality versus quantity. So there's a bit of a debate going on online and in forums and on YouTube at the moment about quality versus quantity. And what people are judging is they're seeing sites and projects like my mega website, where we're trying to produce 1,000 pieces of content at least each year for a 4-year basis. I'm trying to get about 4,000 pieces of content on my website. They see that and they think that the quantity is there, but the quality won't be there. So often people are saying now, don't rush out as much content as you can. Back in the day that used to be the thing, you just banged as much content on as you could and everything ranked. Now I get that, today it's not like that. The quality of content has to be there. But just because you're producing a ton of content doesn't mean to say the quality needs to drop. Certainly the quality of content that I'm putting on my mega website, I've now got nearly 500,000 words on there in the first 4 months, and trust me, the quality has not decreased. Just because we're putting a lot of content on there doesn't mean to say the quality drops. So if you're looking to build a mega website or certainly a big authoritative site, make sure you keep to your quality controls and make sure each article out there is as good as it can be. So tip number 6, stop using stock images. What I mean by that is many of us go to our usual places, Canva or Adobe Stock, to get our images, but those images are often used by many websites, and you tend to see the same images on various posts, and it gets a bit tedious, and it's not very interesting or inspiring. So what I suggest you do is try and either find as many unique images as you can or take as many images you can yourself. It's not hard to actually pick up your phone and just walk around the house and take a load of images. Often on days out, I can be found just randomly taking photos of things just in case I might need it for a blog post. Now, if you run a pet website, something like that, let's say you go to your pet store, just randomly take a load of photos. You'd be surprised how many will come in handy. And tip number 7, limit the clicks. So what I mean by that is the amount of clicks a visitor needs to perform to get to the piece of content they want to read. So when somebody lands on your website, it should take them no longer than 2 clicks to actually find the piece of content they want. So sometimes you see these websites and they've got these mega menu structures and you just can't find the content that you want. You have to land on the home page, you have to click a menu, you have to click a sub menu, you have to go into a product guide. It takes you 4 or 5 clicks just to actually get to where you want to be. So make your website clean, simple, easy to navigate, and that way the user experience will be better, but also it will be easier for Google bots to come and crawl your website. So tip number 8, focus on page authority rather than domain authority. Now many of us look at articles that are ranking and we think, oh my goodness, we can't rank that number 1 spot because that website has got a really strong authority and it may have a lot of backlinks. But you need to look at the individual article or keyword you're trying to rank. Often a big authoritative website might not actually have a strong page authority for the article or keyword you're going after. So often page authority is more relevant than the overall domain authority. So you need to check that out and consider that next time you're going to write a new blog post. And tip number 9, don't give up for at least 12 months. Now this is a nemesis of all newbies to this business. We all know that the first 6 months is very tough when trying to rank a website, but the period between 6 months and 12 months can actually also be as discouraging. Because everybody's heard that you need to wait 6-7 months before you're out of the Google sandbox and you start to get some traffic, but then they expect miracles. They expect then the next few months, yes, I'm out of the Google sandbox, I'm going to start earning tons of money, here it comes, and then months 7, 8 and 9, they only see a few dollars each month. And often then they think, okay, I've waited a year for this and this is all I'm getting, a few dollars, and they just stop working on the website. When actually what they're not noticing is the slight increment increases. So what they're not seeing is that month 7 you might have only earned $1, but month 8 you earn $2, month 9 you earn $4, and that is increasing month on month. But often many people give up way too soon. So give it at least 12 months before you judge the performance and the success of your website. And tip number 10, logos don't matter. Many people get so fixated with creating the most perfect logo, the most perfect looking theme, when really they should be focusing on the content. Many websites, including some multi-million-dollar websites, just have a name as the logo. They don't even have a logo, it's just a name in a certain font and a certain colour. And often that's all you need to look professional and start building a brand. And tip number 11, use more tables and charts. So often I have started now putting a table, a chart or a graph instead of an image. Images cost money, images need to be sourced with a license-free image, and they're hard to find. Unless you're taking your own unique images, they can be difficult to get. So start using tables, start using charts. The human eye is trained when you're flicking through a post to look at an image or a chart or a graph for a certain amount of seconds. And it's actually been proven that people stay looking at charts and graphs and tables much longer than they actually do images. Looking at an image gives you a split instant judgment of what that image is about, and then you scroll past. Whereas with a chart or a table, you can actually get a lot more helpful information on them so you stay on the page longer. So stop using stock images, start using tables and charts. And tip number 12, think like the user. What I mean by that is think about the person that's landing on your website. If you're struggling to find content to write or what you should put on your website, think about what that user wants. So I always give this example. If you are about to go out and buy a new puppy, a new dog for your family, and you want to know how to care for it, you're going to Google things like, do puppies need rabies shots? Do puppies eat a lot? Do puppies need walking every day? They're the kind of content that you're going to write. So if you have a pet website all about puppies, then put the content on there that the user needs. Regardless of what some of the keyword tools say, if you believe a user will need that piece of information, then write it. Make sure you have the basic information on your website so that when they come over and visit, they're going to get the information they need. They're going to return to your website because they've found the information they needed easily. And tip number 13, if content is king, then answer paragraphs are gods. So what I mean by an answer paragraph is you answering a question as quickly and as informative as possible right at the very top of your post. Often it's called the snippet, and that's one way of jumping the rankings above all these authoritative websites if you can answer the search intent as quickly and as accurately as possible. So content might be king, but snippets and answer paragraphs are gods in my eyes. Tip 14, fluffy intros don't work. Now this is a pet hate of mine. I hate landing on a blog and getting somebody's life story. I want to know, can I feed my puppy dog food? And I get an intro like, when I was young I bought a puppy. It was a lovely puppy. It was a black puppy. It grew and grew and grew. I don't want to hear all that. I don't want to hear your life story. Tell me, can that puppy eat a certain type of dog food? So cut out the fluff. Make sure you answer the search intent as quickly as possible and stop those life stories. Make it clean, simple, to the point. And tip 15, really scary one, let your family read your content. Now many of us are blogging alone, family doesn't have a clue what we're doing or they're not interested at all, and we're producing this content and we're hitting publish. Now often we're embarrassed or ashamed or scared to actually let our family members read our content. But to be honest, they're the ones that will give you the most honest feedback. If you've written a piece of content, it's full of spelling errors or grammatical errors or just the information is not correct, they will tell you. And it costs nothing, they're there, let them read your content. Honest, they will give you some really good feedback, and it may be painful, it may sting a bit, but it's actually the best thing you can do. And tip 16, write your content with mobile in mind. Now you may be like me, you may have a desktop computer, and I write pretty much all of my content on that desktop computer. So it's on a big screen in desktop format, it looks great. But often then I hit publish and a few days later I'll check it on my mobile and I realise that the formatting and structure isn't very good on a mobile. Now 70 to 80% of most people's traffic comes from mobile. So you need to be aiming and focusing your content around being viewed on a mobile device or even a tablet. If you do that, you're going to future-proof your website and your users, your mobile users, and could be more happy and more likely to return. Tip 17, information versus product. Now what I mean by that is you need a balance of content on your website. I personally go for the 70-30 ratio. I go for 70% of my content is informational based and 30% of my content are buyer guides or product reviews. Google loves to see a helpful, informative website. So having more informational content is definitely going to get you more traffic and it's definitely going to increase your authority much quicker. Tip 18, use branded emails. So what I mean by that is most of us set up our website and we go for a free Gmail email or something like that. When actually long term, if you're going to build an email list or do any email marketing, you need to use a branded domain name. So I was originally using carlbroadbent@gmail.com and I found that sending my emails out were just landing in the spam box. So what you need to do is you need to get a branded email. So I now pay yearly for an email address and I'll have carl@carlbroadbent.com, which is a branded, more authoritative email address, and that means when I send my email list out, hopefully they're landing in your inbox. Tip 19, think like a local business. So what I mean by that is we often build our websites in the background and don't treat them as real businesses. If you had a bricks and mortar store, I'm pretty sure you would put online your address, your email, your phone number and your opening times. I'm sure you would also then list it with directories like Yell.com and other formats where people can go and find your opening times and your information. Now you should do that with your website. Treat it no differently than you would a bricks and mortar building, and what it actually does, it again helps build your authority and it shows Google that you're treating this like a genuine business. Tip 20, keep the costs low. The great thing about affiliate marketing and building websites is you can do it on a shoestring budget. Unlike a bricks and mortar where it costs thousands and thousands of pounds or dollars to get your business open, you can build a website for literally $10 or $20. That's all it will take to get some hosting, a free theme, and start writing some content. But those costs can actually spiral out of control very quickly. Before you know it, you subscribe to this tool, you've purchased that plugin, you've bought that theme, when really you don't need that. Maybe in a few years' time when you're making thousands of dollars, you can reinvest back into your look and theme and style of your website. But for the first 12 to 24 months, don't worry about any of that, just keep the costs low. And finally, tip 21, ignore the haters. This is one that I'm quite passionate about. Not many people understand what blogging is about, how we make our money. They don't realise that it is actually a full-time, genuine business. I'm a full-time blogger now, I earn several $1,000s a month, but when I mentioned to my friends and colleagues at work, they all laughed at me and just thought it was a ridiculous idea, it was a dream, it's never going to happen, nobody makes money online. Well, actually, they're wrong. So ignore all the haters, ignore all the doubters, because all they will do is bring you down, demoralise you, and take that motivation away. But for me, I actually get motivated by that. It pushes me to do more. When somebody says you can't do that, you can't build a mega website, you can't rank in that niche, well, I like to prove them wrong if I can. Obviously sometimes they are right and it may fail, but I'll give it my best shot. So ignore the haters, keep pushing through. So there you go, that's my 21 blogging tips for 2021. I hope you found them helpful. I'm sure there's one or two that resonates in there with you. And if you like this video, please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. And give the thumbs up a big press for me. It really helps me out. Comment below. Let me know which one of those was your favourite.